Hi everyone, welcome back to Box of Lights and welcome to this playthrough of Hoplomachus Victorum. Oh my gosh, I don't believe I need to tell you how anticipated this game has been. Here it is then, Hoplomachus Victorum. Victorum is purely a solo game. I don't think it needs too much of an introduction because I did a Kickstarter preview and I've done plenty of Hoplo games in the past, but this is kind of a re-implementation of, this was Hoplomachus Origins. And in Hoplo Origins, there was a solo campaign, a series of small arenas, so Atlantis, Xanadu, and so on and so on. And in here, there was this, the solo trials, where you played through each arena in a series from 1 to 20, and the aim being kind of like a ladder. If you succeeded, you moved forward. If you failed, you went back, kind of thing. We've got Atlantis, El Dorado again, and you played through it. So the way that things have changed in Hoplomachus Victorum is instead of having this series of trials, you have a map. And on this map, you'll travel from point to point. And each point on this map is in a region, and those regions represent one of those maps. So as you travel around, you have a little bit more freedom over which map you're going to face next, as you can determine which direction you're going to go. And also, there's different types of battles as you hit each arena. So same kind of concept, but the series of battles is not linear. It's a little bit more freeform and kind of constructed in this campaign method. And also, unlike Origins, where you got to freely choose your team before each battle, in Victorum, you have a starting team that evolves from battle to battle. Okay, so you'll add units and take units away or lose units as you progress through this campaign. So it tells a much better story, and we'll see that as we play through the campaign. We still have the same kind of units: the archer, defender, tactician, and attacker. But now they have all new original artwork. The graphic design's been really cleaned up. And we have new dice. That was the old. This is the new. But of course, we also have this stadium seating, which has accommodated some wonderful metal alloy dice as well. These are real weighty. And we'll be using these in the game. In addition, they've really cleaned up the skills list. All those ambiguities and rule questions that came from original Hoplo have now been cleared up, and we have a more concise and clearly defined set of unit skills. But without further ado, let's dive into it. We're going to be playing on the easiest mode, which is called Chosen. In Chosen, we get 3 Hero Prowess cards instead of 1. We get 8 blessings. Blessings are kind of like lives, so if we lose our hero, we can bring him back. You can use them to recruit units as well. We get additional health and leadership, and we get to upgrade our attacks. Choose one of the starting heroes. Here they all are, this Rose Gallery. I've chosen to play Nox of the Vesuvians. The game suggests you start when you're learning Kraken Lance of the Atlanteans. But there you go, we're going to play Nox. But we're going to play her on easy because I've not played her yet. She comes with 2 movement, 1 range, and 5 health. An attack die of a black die. She's a defender class and she has leadership 5. So we get those stats and we write them down on this hero tracking pad. Okay. And remember, I took a bonus to health, so she can have 6 health, and to leadership, so she's going to have 6 leadership. And those are the 8 blessings. I've laminated mine. You do get a pad, but I've just got a dry erase marker I'm using. So, oops, done that wrong. So she starts with a black attack die and 1 extra die, because we're playing on the chosen difficulty. So there's her name. She's called Nox, but I've given her own unique name, Ursula Nox of the Vesuvians. So here she is with her starting 6 health. We place her here on this hero mat. The hero mat is neoprene, it's single-sided, it's just this on the back. Here's the 3 prowess cards that I've chosen, but you've got a free choice. We've got endurance level 1, which actually does nothing, but endurance level 2 does, so we'll see that when it comes into play. And then I've chosen winged, which gives Nox an innate skill. This I'm in green, he means innate. She has flight, and whenever Nox moves through an opponent using flight, she rolls a yellow die and deals the roll damage to that unit. Okay, so those are her prowess cards. She comes with 3 units in her team to start off. So rather than having free choice like in Hoplo Origins, you get what you're told, which is units, attacker, archer, tactician. And then she gets 3 tactics, adrenaline, bolster health, and stun. So we have those placed aside as well. Our hero's health is carried from battle to battle. So that's another difference. There is ways of resetting it and healing. We'll talk about that. But these battles are now kind of tied together in a wonderfully thematic way. All right. Each of the 8 heroes has its own starting home region, its starting arena. So for Nox, it's the Vesuvians arena. So we take this reference card for the Vesuvians. They're double-sided, right? And this tells us the rules that we're going to be using while we battle in this arena. Right, so there's our 3 units that form part of our team. Leadership is 6. That means there can be up to 6 units that we can have in our troop at one time. That includes Nox herself. So we've got 4 out of the 6 right now. The rest, these spare ones, they go in a drawstring bag. This is the one that comes with the game, but my daughter has made me a drawstring bag. So I'm going to be using this. In they go. So these are units that we're going to be potentially recruiting or fighting or facing as we adventure through these different regions. Our mission is to face down our enemy Pluto. Pluto, Lord of the Underworld, has threatened to trigger a new eruption at Mount Vesuvius. Our aim is to defeat Pluto in the arena of Vesuvius. But standing in our way are Pluto's scions. There's 7 of them. There's reference cards for each of the 7 scions and Pluto himself. Our adventure is going to consist of 4 acts. At the end of Act 4, we'll be facing one of these scions. It could even be Pluto himself. But along the way, at the end of each of Acts 1 to 3, we are going to be competing for this glory against 3 other heroes called Primuses. So there's a whole bunch of heroes that we can be, but the heroes that we're not, which are going to be known as Primuses, are going to be challenging us to battle at the end of each of these other acts. You choose these 3 randomly at the start of the game. I've already chosen Bing Ching, Stygiana, and Virago. So plenty of variability along the way. This is our home region. Again, the mats are double-sided. They were single-sided in Origins. We begin in our home region, which for us is Vesuvius, the home of Nox. So we also place our encampment token here on the map in the Vesuvian capital, which is where this arena is located. Okay. All right. We've got a limited number of turns, 12 turns each act, to grow in strength, recruit more units, take on the Primus, defeat them before we move on to the second, third, and finally the fourth act where we face the scion. You choose the scion that you're going to face at the beginning of the game, and it suggests you face Tautier at the beginning as your first challenge. But why don't we choose someone else? Why don't we go for the Hydra? That would be good fun. And we'll place that as Tautier comes out, as Hydra goes in as our scion. Now on our scion's reference card, there is a scion bane. It's written here. It's called multiply. So the first bane that we're going to face is, you have a red back. These are called bane chips, right? Find multiply, and it's going to go at the front of the bane stack here. Now, this is going to be pretty tough, but because this bane is going to go in the bag at some point and potentially impact every single encounter that we have from here on in. So the scion is like this dark shadow that sits in the background, influencing what's going on as we adventure towards the end of that fourth act. In addition, think about what you might want to do, the types of units you want to recruit in order to take down our ultimate foe. For now, we'll place Hydra to one side. Let's start our first turn then, and every turn begins with a travel phase. During the travel phase, we can move along these dotted paths to one of these adjoining locations. At each location, an event will occur, typically a battle on an arena, and the arena will depend on which region we're in. Nice and simple. There's three types. There's a bloodshed event, a battle to the death. Victory here will allow us to upgrade our hero. There's a sporting event. This one's non-lethal. We're demonstrating our prowess to the local people with a view to potentially recruiting new units into our troop. And then there's opportunity events. These present us with little side quests and rewards. We'll look at those as we come to them. Let's head off this way to a bloodshed event. Now, as it goes, we do have a little bit of an insight because there's three decks. There's one for sport, one for opportunity, one for bloodshed, and they're face up, so we can have a little sneaky peek about what may potentially be upcoming. We can choose to either accept this event or spectate this event. We don't want to spectate just yet, but spectating is a way of kind of resting and healing up. Let's accept this event. In doing so, we'll place it here on this spot on the player mat. It's a deadly mirage. The entrance to the oasis was guarded by a pair of shimmering warriors who seemed to flicker in and out of existence as they brandished their weapons. This gives a new meaning to dying of thirst, the hero joked. Our hero is Nox. She is a goddess of night, and her reasons for taking down Pluto are purely driven by greed. She's not really trying to save the world. She sees an opportunity to take the throne for herself. So there's our hero. She's come to the oasis at Vesuvius, guarded by two warriors. And it tells us here on the left-hand side that one is a local warrior, which means this L. And this small t says this warrior comes with a tactic. So a local means it's going to be a Vesuvian unit because we're in Vesuvius Arena. And then this helm here shows us we take a unit from the bag also with a tactic. So to start things off, we're going to take our local unit. Again, these are face up, so we can see that the Vesuvian unit is a magma rager. It has 2 movement, 1 range, 3 health, is blasphemous and has retaliate. Okay, it's an attacker with a big attack. It's got a black die, a green die, and a blue die. Now remember, this unit comes with a tactic. The tactic it gets is determined by the type of unit it is. It's an attacker. So if we grab our tactics, you'll see they have the unit type on them. So that's a defender. There we go. Here's the attacker one. Adrenaline. All right. So place it at the top in this spot. tactic alongside. Next was a unit from a bag, also with a tactic. So we'll draw. And we draw a tactician. A tactician with a tactic. They're going to get hamstring, I think. There we go. The tactician's tactic is hamstring. Perfect. Right, so there's our two foes. Things are going to get tougher as we move through the acts. Additional units are going to be added. Banes will potentially be adding units to this and making this more difficult. We get to deploy a hero and two of our own units. We've got 3 in our troop. But it does say you cannot include non-elite attacker units in your lineup. All right, so that takes the choice away from us. We can't use our non-elite attacker. So it's going to be the hero, the archer, and the tactician for us against a magma rager and a tactician for them. Right, let's start off. Foes go first. First unit is going to deploy, which is the local unit. Up here on the arena are the deployment hexes. They're numbered 1, 2, 3. This is our deployment hexes down here. So the magma rager is coming in, spot number 1 with 3 health. We'll use blue health chips for them. Now, there is some text on the Vesuvian's sheet. It says tough and hide. This bit in blue is a boon for local units, units that are local to this arena. So Vesuvians, which magma rager is. It says local units gain 1 HP instead of being dealt damage from burning ground. Burning ground is what affects everybody else. Units are immediately dealt 1 damage when deployed. And then we've got Pluto's domain, which affects us when our encampment moves into the Vesuvian capital, which we're not doing. We're already in the Vesuvian region. We're not in the capital. Okay, so magma rager, because of that tough and hide, gets an extra 1 health. Fortunately for us, Nox is also Vesuvian, so she's going to get that boon as well, but our other units won't. Next step is tactic placement. So we look, again, from top down. We'll find the first tactic that they can legally place. Adrenaline says it's a permanent. It plays it on its own unit. This unit has +1 movement. So yes, he can play this tactic, and he'll place it on himself. So now the magma rager has 3 movements. Units would normally get to move now and attack, but when a unit's first deployed, it's what's called dazed. It can't move and attack. So that's it. That's all they're doing. Over to me. And I'm going to deploy my hero. Let's get them out. Let's get this battle going. We are going to take some damage, I think, but I think we can make pretty swift work of these two if we get our hero out quickly. Now, we've got 6 health. That's our starting health. But Nox is Vesuvian, so we'll get tough and hide, an extra 1 HP. I don't want to play any tactics, so no, we're dazed as well. Back to the foe. They're going to deploy their tactician now. The tactician comes with 2 health, but isn't local, so burning ground is going to come into effect. Units are immediately dealt 1 damage when deployed. Just 1 health for their tactician. That's spot 3. There's deployment hex 2. Tactician has tactical, which means they can now play this tactic on non-adjacent units. So normally it would be their own units or enemy units that are adjacent. Tactical, this innate skill of tactician, says tactics can be played on any units, even if not adjacent. But they can't hamstring my hero because heroes can't be hit by tactics. It's a key rule to remember: no tactics on elite units. Tactician's dazed. Magma Rager can now move and has a movement of 2 + 1. We'll move towards flag holder we ignore. That's for capture the flag. We'll move towards the hero. So with 3 movement, they're going to stop as soon as they're in range, which means 1, 2, 1, 2. That one's further, yeah. So here or here, it's our choice where. I'm actually going to 1, 2. We'll come down here like this and then attack. And this is where our hero is going to take some damage. The Magma Rager has an attack of black, green and blue. It's got 2 innates, Blasphemous and Retaliate, but they only come into effect when Magma Rager is attacked, not when they're attacking. Blasphemous says they take an extra damage from elite units. Retaliate says when hit, they'll hit back. So they're attacking for black, green and blue. Black, green and blue. Blacks have hits on 5 out of 6 sides. Green have hits on 4 out of 6 sides, and blue 3 out of 6 sides. So you can see the dice have different probabilities of hitting. Right? So let's roll for the Magma Rager's attack. And it's 2 damage. There we go. So we knew that was going to happen. It's unfortunate, but it happens. Tactician can't do anything. Back to us. Now remember, we can deploy a hero and 2 other units, but not a non-elite attacker. So it's either my archer or tactician. I don't have to deploy, but I do want to. I want to make swift work of this Magma Rager. The archer has a range of 2 and a health of 2, -1 because of burning ground. It's not local. So the archer is going to come in onto one of these deployment hexes. We're going to come in here, but can't move because he's dazed. Right, now it's movement, so we can move our hero. And remember, Nox has flight. Right? Flight means Nox can move through blocked hexes. And with a movement of 2, we're going to go 1, 2, like so. Our other skill was Bombard level 1. Whenever Nox moves through an opponent using flight, she rolls a yellow die and deals the roll damage to that unit. So we get to roll a yellow die. Yellow die hits on 2 out of 6 sides. That's the weakest die. But we might be able to do 1 damage to Magma Rager. Now, I've just got to check. Bombard is not an attack, is it? Whenever she rolls a yellow die and deals damage. I'm just checking because Retaliate says after this unit is dealt damage from an attack, and then Blasphemous says whenever this unit is dealt damage from an elite opponent. So I think, yeah, this is interesting. I'm going to roll. You do 1 damage. So 1 damage away. Blasphemous says whenever this unit is dealt damage from an elite opponent, that damage is increased by 1. Retaliate says after this unit is dealt damage from an attack. This is not an attack, but now we are going to attack. And Ursula has an attack of 1 black and 1 yellow. But I'm going to do the archer first as it goes, because the archer has range 2, so we can't hit the tactician, and has innate first strike. First strike says that they can attack on the turn they're deployed. And I want to do that because the archer's out of range of the Magma Rager's Retaliate. So there is a chance that the archer will take this unit out, and if defeated, we don't need to worry about Retaliate. So it's a black and a yellow for the archer. See what happens. And oh, both have missed. Ouch. Okay, no good. Alright, then Nox has to attack. Nox has black and yellow. Let's roll. And we've got 1 hit. And because of Blasphemous, that goes to 2. That's the Magma Rager defeated. Okay, finally. That goes back to the supply. And we put this unit face down. Okay, back to the foe's turn. They can now hamstring the archer, who's going to move towards our hero. 1, 2, 3. And hit for 1 red die. As it goes, the red die is the strongest of all. It hits on every side, so you don't really need to roll it. Our hero takes another damage. But hamstring, the archer says this unit cannot attack on the turn it uses its movement. I'm not worried about that. We can deploy our tactician if we want to. but I don't think we're going to need to. We're going to do black and yellow. We're not going to move the archer. We're just going to have the archer try and take out that tactician who's only got 1 health. And oh, it's missed again. Our archer's really struggling. But Ursula can now attack the tactician and does the 1 damage needed. All right, that's it. We did make quick work of them. The hamstrung archer, this tactic goes back to the supply. These units will go back to the camp and their health will reset. However, our hero, who's down to 4 health from 6, will keep that 4 health. So we'll be a little weaker when they face the next challenge. That's it then. Our bloodshed event is complete. They're always a little bit dodgy, a bloodshed event, because they're lethal. If any of our units were defeated, they'd be gone. They'd be gone from our troop. So yeah, you've got to be a little bit cautious, but it was clear they were going to go after our hero. So Ursula's taken a hit, but our troop survives. Now, cleanup phase. That event has cost us a week of time. So step 1 is to cross off a week of Act 1, but we do get rewards. Now from a bloodshed event, we get to upgrade our hero. So we can either upgrade one of our attack dice or add a new attack die. So we could move the yellow to blue, or we could add another yellow, or we could add a health, or we could add a leadership. I'm going to add an attack die, so we end up with another yellow die, black and 2 yellows. If we'd failed, we'd cross off one of these scion influences, and scion influences tick up like this, and when you hit one of these masked skull icons, that's when a bane gets drawn. Now the foes units, which was 1 Vesuvian and this tactician, they get added back to the bag. So the tactician came from the bag, goes back in the bag, but now the bag's been upgraded. The Magma Rager has joined the foe's forces and can come out again, not as a local unit, but as a bag unit. Remember, on this event, we drew a local unit from the stadium seating and then a bag unit. So yeah, the bag's going to get stronger as the game progresses. And that's it. We've completed the first week. We've completed the Deadly Mirage. And we're well on our way with our adventure. And from here, our hero is a little bit stronger and now needs to consider where to travel to next.